Welcome to the One Thing audiobook summary by Gary Keller, How to Achieve Extraordinary Results, brought to you by Detailed Book Summaries. If you feel stretched too thin, constantly busy but never productive, this summary is for you. Based on the best-selling book by Gary Keller and Papasan, this guide reveals a powerful truth behind success. Focus on what matters most. It's the one thing you need to cut through the noise, master your priorities, and get extraordinary results in work and life. In this video, we'll walk you through the key principles of the one thing, including how to identify your true priority, eliminate distractions, and create a simple path to sustained success. Whether you're an entrepreneur, student, or just try to regain clarity, this summary delivers the essential takeaways in minutes. If you enjoy this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and explore more insightful content right here on Detailed Book Summaries, where we break down the best books to help you grow smarter and faster. Chapter 1: The Lies That Mislead Us. In today's fast-paced world, we're often told that the secret to success is the ability to juggle multiple tasks at once. We've been conditioned to believe that multitasking is a skill that can enhance productivity. From responding to emails while working on a project to attending meetings while brainstorming new ideas, we're constantly told that doing more at once makes us more efficient. But here's the truth. Multitasking is a myth. The brain simply cannot focus on multiple things simultaneously. It switches between tasks, costing time and energy, and this constant switching makes us less effective at each task we're trying to complete. Gary Keller begins by debunking the myth of multitasking, urging us to rethink our approach to productivity. Instead of trying to juggle a variety of tasks, the answer is focus. By focusing on one task at a time, you harness the full potential of your brain and your effort. Focus allows you to give your undivided attention to the task at hand, which ultimately makes you more productive and efficient in the long run. The idea is simple yet powerful. Focus on the one thing that will drive the greatest impact in your life and your work. Keller's message is that focusing on too many things dilutes your energy and attention. The key to extraordinary results lies in identifying that one thing that will make everything else easier or even unnecessary. To achieve this, Keller presents a transformative question that lies at the heart of the book. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? This question is not just a tool for productivity. It is a mindset shift. When you focus on the one thing that matters most, you create a clear path forward and eliminate distractions that waste your time and energy. One of the most powerful ways to understand the impact of focus is to think of it like dominoes. Picture a row of dominoes, each representing a task or a goal. When you knock over the first domino, it sets off a chain reaction, knocking down the rest of the dominoes. By focusing on the most important task, the first domino, you create momentum that will make everything else easier. This is the power of focus. Instead of trying to accomplish everything at once, you focus on that one task that will have a ripple effect, helping you make progress in every other area of your life. By focusing on the one thing, you create a domino effect that propels you toward your goals. As the first domino falls, it knocks down other tasks and challenges that once seemed insurmountable. This is how extraordinary results are achieved. Not by doing more, but by doing less, but doing it with intense focus and purpose. In this chapter, Keller takes the time to unravel some of the most dangerous lies that keep us from focusing on the one thing that matters. The first lie he addresses is the idea that everything is equally important. We've been taught that every task or goal is of equal value, but that simply isn't true. Not everything deserves our attention. When we treat every task as equally important, we end up spreading ourselves too thin, and our efforts become ineffective. The truth is, some tasks are far more important than others. By identifying the one thing that will make the greatest impact, you can give it the priority it deserves and set yourself up for success. Another myth that Keller debunks is the notion that success requires a balanced life. We've all been told that balance is key to happiness and success, but Keller challenges this idea. Trying to balance every aspect of life often leads to mediocrity. The truth is that balance is a myth. There will be times when one area of life demands more attention than the others. By focusing on the one thing that matters most in the moment, you create extraordinary results in that area, which will then benefit the other areas of your life. Keller also touches on the myth that a disciplined life leads to success. Discipline is important, but it's not the only factor. Instead of relying solely on willpower, Keller stresses the importance of creating the right habits around your one thing. When you form the right habits, staying disciplined becomes automatic, and you'll find that it becomes easier to stay on track with your most important goals. In addition, Keller emphasizes that willpower is finite. We've been conditioned to believe that sheer determination and willpower are the keys to success. However, willpower is a limited resource that depletes over time. That's why it's crucial to create systems and environments that make it easier to focus on your one thing. The right systems, combined with focus, will help you achieve success without having to rely solely on willpower. This chapter lays the foundation for the rest of the book. Keller encourages us to rethink our approach to productivity and focus on what truly matters. He urges us to stop multitasking and start asking ourselves a critical question. What's the one thing that, if done well, will make everything else easier or unnecessary? The key to extraordinary results is not doing more. It's doing less, but doing it with focus and purpose. When you focus on the one thing, you unlock the power to create meaningful, lasting success in your life and work. By eliminating distractions and embracing the power of focus, you'll begin to experience a domino effect of success, where each task you complete makes the next one easier. The one thing is your secret weapon, your path to extraordinary results. So, ask yourself, what is your one thing? Chapter 2, Live with Purpose, Live with Focus. In this chapter, Gary Keller challenges us to reframe the way we approach our daily lives. Too often, we're caught up in a frenzy of chasing multiple goals, responding to urgent requests, and getting caught in the whirlwind of busyness. But busyness doesn't equate to productivity. In fact, it's the enemy of focus. Keller argues that we need to live with purpose, to focus on one thing at a time that aligns with our core values and goals. The concept of purpose goes beyond simply identifying goals. It's about having a deeper sense of direction that informs everything you do. Keller stresses that living with purpose doesn't just mean choosing something important to focus on. It also means choosing what to say no to. Every time you say yes to something, you're essentially saying no to something else. So it's crucial to be deliberate about your choices. The pursuit of the one thing starts by understanding your big picture vision. Keller talked about creating a vision for your life that isn't just a collection of tasks or vague goals, but true reflection of the life you want to lead. If you don't have a clear, overarching vision, it's easy to get lost in the weeds and chase after distractions that don't serve your ultimate purpose. Think of this chapter as a call to action. Keller emphasizes that without a clear vision, all the strategies, tactics, and tips won't matter. Your vision provides a guiding light to help you make decisions and stay focused on your one thing. When you're clear on what's truly important, everything else falls into place. What often derails us from living with purpose is our tendency to focus on short-term tasks that seem urgent but aren't necessarily important. These distractions can take us away from the long-term goals that truly matter. Keller refers to this as the whirlwind, a constant rush of events, tasks, and interruptions that keep us busy, but leave us with little time for what's most meaningful. To avoid the whirlwind, Keller advises setting clear boundaries around your time and making your one thing your top priority. This requires conscious effort and discipline. Living with purpose means eliminating distractions and saying no to things that don't align with your vision. He explains that every yes you give must be intentional and deliberate, driven by your greater goal. For Keller, purpose isn't something you can just define once and leave it at that. It's an ongoing process, something you need to reassess regularly. He suggests periodically revisiting your vision and goals, checking if they're still aligned with your values and your one thing. This kind of reflection keeps your purpose fresh and ensures you're not drifting into habits that no longer serve you. Keller also challenges the conventional idea that success equals balance. The concept of balance often leads us to spread ourselves thin across many areas of life, thinking that we need to be equally successful in everything. But true success comes from intentional imbalance. Focusing on one thing at a time often means letting other areas of life take a back seat temporarily. In doing so, you give your full energy to what matters most in the moment, creating the extraordinary results that come from focusing on one thing instead of many. Keller introduces the 80-20 principle, the idea that 80% of our results come from just 20% of our efforts. He asks us to reflect on what that 20% of effort looks like for us personally. What are the key activities, tasks, or relationships that contribute the most to our success? Identifying that 20% and focusing on it intensely is a path to achieving extraordinary results. He also offers a powerful exercise to help you pinpoint your one thing. Ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? This simple question forces you to cut through the noise and pinpoint the one task or action that will have the greatest impact on your life and your goals. By focusing on that one thing, you can cut through the distractions and truly focus your energy on the most important task. To live with purpose and focus, Keller suggests developing habits that reinforce your commitment to your one thing. This means creating a daily routine that prioritizes the activities aligned with your purpose. Your habits should support the progress of your goals, not hinder them. Keller also discusses the importance of saying no to things that are not in alignment with your one thing. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve your goals, you're essentially saying no to yourself and your vision. This chapter emphasizes the importance of clarity. Without a clear sense of purpose, it's easy to get overwhelmed by all the tasks that demand your attention. But with a clear focus, you can make intentional choices that lead to progress. By focusing on your one thing, you direct your energy and efforts in ways that will help you achieve extraordinary results, not just in one area of your life, but in all areas. Keller also stresses that focus requires sacrifice. To give attention to one thing, we must let go of others. But those sacrifices are not arbitrary. They are strategic choices that align with our deeper purpose. By saying no to distractions, you make space for your goals and align your efforts with what truly matters. By the end of this chapter, you should have a clearer sense of what your one thing is and how you can begin to prioritize it. Keller's message is clear. Living with purpose requires focus, and focus requires saying no to distractions and putting your energy into what matters most. Only by living with purpose can you achieve the extraordinary results that come from focusing on your one thing. The chapter ends with a reminder that focus is not just a strategy, it's a lifestyle choice. Every day, you must choose to prioritize your one thing and eliminate distractions that get in the way. With each decision, you're building a life of focus, purpose, and extraordinary results. Chapter 3. Success leaves clues. Follow the domino effect. Big success doesn't happen all at once. It's more like watching a single domino knock down a taller one, which knocks down an even bigger one, and so on. That's the powerful metaphor Gary Keller uses to explain how extraordinary results come from a chain reaction of small, focused actions. This chapter is all about momentum, the kind of momentum that starts with just one small, well-placed move and builds into something massive over time. Keller draws from a surprising fact. A single domino can knock over another domino that's 50% larger than itself. That might not seem significant at first, but if you keep stacking dominoes like that, by the 10th domino, you'll be toppling something as tall as a building. That's the kind of exponential growth Keller is getting at. When you focus on your one thing consistently, you're not just making progress, you're building power. And that power compounds with time and discipline. The problem is, most people don't recognize this. They chase too many dominoes at once, scattering their efforts and breaking the chain. They think success requires juggling everything at the same time. But Keller wants you to see that extraordinary success is sequential, not simultaneous. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing the right thing first, then letting the momentum of that choice make the next one easier. The key is to line up your dominoes. Start with the one thing that matters most right now, the thing that will make everything else easier or even irrelevant. If you knock down that first domino today, it will set off a chain reaction in your business, your relationships, your health, whatever area you're applying this principle to. But if you waste time on the wrong domino, the chain breaks. Momentum dies. To put it into practice, Keller suggests asking a clarifying question daily. What's the one thing I can do today for insert area of life, such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? That's your first domino. That's where you place your focus. And this isn't just motivational talk. Keller backs it with research and logic. He reminds us of the 80-20 principle again. 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. But he takes it further. Not all 20% efforts are equal. There's always a smaller portion within that 20% that's even more powerful. He wants you to go extreme. Find that one highest leverage task and build your entire workflow around it. But here's the hard truth. We resist the simplicity. We've been conditioned to believe that multitasking is a key to success, that being busy is being productive. But Keller dismantles that myth. Multitasking doesn't increase productivity. It divides your focus and slows your momentum. You end up working harder, achieving less, and burning out faster. So, what's the solution? Keller calls for a mindset shift. Start seeing your daily actions as dominoes in a larger line, not isolated tasks. When you choose your most important task, your one thing, you're not just doing work. You're building a chain of success that will expand in ways you can't predict right now. He encourages you to get ruthless about protecting that first domino each day. Block off time for it. Don't negotiate with distractions. Don't check email, social media, or answer unimportant calls until it's done. That first domino deserves your full energy. This chapter is a reminder that focus is power, and power grows when you stack consistent, purposeful actions together. It's not about heroic effort. It's about daily discipline. Do the one thing, do it consistently, and let the dominoes fall. And when they do, that's where the extraordinary begins. Chapter 4. Everything doesn't matter equally. Prioritize with purpose. We live in a culture that praises multitasking, glorifies busyness, and treats every task as if it's life or death. But the hard truth? Everything doesn't matter equally. And believing otherwise is one of the biggest traps that keeps people spinning their wheels without making real progress. Gary Keller wants you to take a deep breath and look at your to-do list with a new lens. Because not all tasks are created equal. Some things move the needle. Others are just noise. The key to achieving extraordinary results is learning to separate the trivial many from the vital few. Most people fall into the trap of treating all their tasks with the same level of urgency. They make long lists, try to check off everything, and end up exhausted, but not any closer to what they really want. That's the danger of equality thinking. Just because everything demands your attention doesn't mean everything deserves it. Keller introduces a concept of the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule, again, but this time he goes deeper. He challenges you to go beyond identifying your top 20% of tasks. He urges you to take it even further. What's the one thing in that 20% that drives the majority of your success? That's the game changer. Once you identify it, you have to get ruthless about protecting it. That might mean saying no to things that are urgent but not important. It might mean disappointing people. It might even mean breaking habits you've had for years, like always responding to emails right away or checking notifications constantly. Keller also makes a bold claim here. Success is built by doing fewer things, not more. The myth of the balanced to-do list needs to die. Instead of focusing on checking everything off, shift your focus to checking off the right things. He calls it going small. Not in ambition, but in focus. Going small means narrowing your energy to the one activity that matters most. It means showing up to your day knowing exactly what deserves your full attention, and letting go of everything else until it's done. It's not easy. Most people are addicted to the rush of busy. They feel productive when their schedule is full, and they're juggling 10 things at once. But that's not productivity. That's panic in disguise. Keller reminds us that the people who achieve the most are not the ones who do the most. They're the ones who identify the highest value task and give it their undivided attention. He invites you to replace your to-do list with a success list. A success list isn't long. It's short and strategic. It's curated. It reflects the few things that actually drive results. And at the top of that list, your one thing. There's a mental clarity that comes when you stop treating everything equally. You stop waking up overwhelmed. You stop wasting energy on the noise. You begin each day asking, what matters most? Then you tackle that, first, with full force. This chapter cuts through the fluff. It's a wake-up call to stop playing the productivity game by the wrong rules. The truth is, not everything deserves your time. Not every task is important. But there is Always one thing, that is. And once you find it, your job is simple. Do it, protect it, and let everything else wait. Chapter 5. Success leaves clues. Follow the domino effect. Big success doesn't start with big action. It starts with one small, intentional move, one that knocks over the next, which knocks over the next, until momentum builds and the results compound. Think dominoes. You line them upright, push the first one, and suddenly what seemed impossible starts to happen. That's the core idea Gary Keller explores in this chapter, the domino effect. You don't need to overhaul your life in a single leap. You just need to knock down the right domino today. Then tomorrow, knock down the next one. The trick is understanding that the power lies not in doing everything at once, but in doing the right thing now that makes everything else easier or even unnecessary later. Keller tells us that extraordinary success is sequential, not simultaneous. Yet most people try to live life in parallel mode, spreading their energy across multiple goals, projects, or habits. That's a recipe for mediocrity. Real progress, lasting progress, happens when you zoom in and create a clear line of priority. One action at a time, one habit at a time, one domino at a time. He shares a powerful truth. When a 2-inch domino falls, it can knock over a domino 50% larger. That's not just a metaphor. Physically, it's proven. That means a series of small, well-aligned actions can eventually lead to massive outcomes, far bigger than you thought possible when you began. So the question becomes, what's the first domino? What's the one task, decision, or behavior that starts the chain reaction? Keller urges us to stop chasing every opportunity and instead build a sequence. That sequence starts with identifying your one thing and taking consistent action on it. Here's where most people fall off. They don't give the first domino enough power. They assume the early steps are too small to matter. They want results now. But Keller is clear. Results come from momentum, not miracles. And momentum is built when you trust the process, stay consistent, and let the dominoes fall. He also warns against chasing scattered productivity. You might feel like you're moving because you're busy, but if your efforts aren't lined up with your one thing, you're just knocking over random dominoes that lead nowhere. What makes the domino effect so potent is that it compounds. Each success builds on the one before it, but it takes discipline, it takes clarity, and it takes the willingness to focus narrowly at the beginning, so you can go big over time. In the end, this chapter is about patience and precision. Big success doesn't come from giant, random acts. It comes from a simple decision to knock over one small domino each day. But it has to be the right domino. If you get that right, the rest takes care of itself. So stop trying to do it all. Stop spreading yourself thin. Find your lead domino, the task that matters most right now, and push it. Then watch what happens next. Because success, Keller reminds us, isn't an explosion. It's a beautiful, powerful chain reaction. Chapter 6. The Myth of a Disciplined Life. Why willpower isn't the answer. Let's clear something up. Successful people aren't superhuman. They don't have an endless well of willpower or some mystical discipline others can't tap into. What they do have is clarity. Clarity about what matters most and the habit of putting that thing first. Gary Keller uses this chapter to expose the myth of willpower and discipline and shows us what actually creates results that last. People love the idea of discipline. It sounds noble. It gives us a reason to explain why we haven't made it yet. I'm just not disciplined enough. But Keller argues that this belief is a trap. Discipline doesn't mean grinding through every day like a machine. It means developing a short burst of focus long enough to build a habit, and then letting that habit carry you. You don't need a lifetime of discipline. You need enough of it to create a groove, a ritual, a routine, a non-negotiable pattern. Once a habit is formed, it takes less energy to continue than to stop. This is the secret most high achievers understand. They don't rely on willpower all day long. They use discipline to get the important stuff locked in, then let momentum do the heavy lifting. Keller compares willpower to a battery. It drains throughout the day. Every decision, every distraction, every temptation pulls from it. So the worst time to do your most important work? Late in the day, when your willpower is gone. That's why successful people time block their key task early, when their mental energy is highest. The truth is, Willpower is unreliable if you expect it to carry you through chaos. But it's powerful when paired with strategy. Want to change your life? Don't just hope to feel motivated. Set up systems. Structure your day. Eliminate distractions. Make the path to your one thing as frictionless as possible. One of the most freeing ideas in this chapter is that discipline isn't about doing everything right. It's about doing the right thing long enough for it to become automatic. This completely flips the usual self-help narrative. You don't need to be a monk. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m., journal for an hour, and eat spinach smoothies, unless that's your one thing. You just need to focus on one habit that drives real results and stick with it. So what's the takeaway? Stop beating yourself up over not being disciplined. Instead, ask, what one habit, if I build it into my life, would make everything else easier or irrelevant? Then focus your discipline there, just long enough to turn it into a lifestyle. The disciplined life isn't a grind. It's smart, it's strategic, and it starts with one powerful question. What's the one habit I need to make automatic to unlock the success I want? When you find that answer, you won't need to feel disciplined anymore. You'll be driven by purpose, structure, and the force of habit itself. Chapter 7. Big is bad. Why thinking small is a real enemy. Most people have a weird relationship with big goals. They either fantasize about them with no real plan, or they run from them entirely because they seem unrealistic, too risky, or just plain scary. That's exactly the mental trap Gary Keller breaks down in Chapter 7. He argues that the fear of thinking big is one of the biggest reasons people settle for average results. Not because they're not capable of more, but because they've been taught to believe that big is bad. It starts early. We're taught to be realistic. Don't aim too high. Don't dream too loud. Stay in your lane. And if you dare to break out a mold, you'll probably hear people whisper things like, "Who do they think they are?" But here's the truth. The people who achieve extraordinary things, who build million-dollar businesses, write bestsellers, or transform entire industries, aren't the ones playing it safe. They're the ones who dare to think way bigger than what seemed reasonable. Keller doesn't just encourage big thinking. He insists it's necessary if you want results that truly matter. Big goals force better questions. Big goals demand better focus. Big goals bring clarity because they cut through the noise. When you commit to something bold, everything else gets simpler. You suddenly know what to say no to, who to align with, and what your daily actions should look like. But thinking big doesn't mean being reckless. This isn't about quitting your job on a whim or throwing your savings into a half-baked idea. It's about expanding your sense of what's possible and then reverse engineering your path forward with clarity and purpose. Keller shares that when people think small, they build small systems, attract small opportunities, and often get stuck in a loop of mediocrity. Big thinking isn't just about ego. It's about vision. It's about building something that has weight, impact, and longevity. The danger of small thinking isn't just limited results. It's burnout, boredom, and a life full of what-ifs. When you think small, every obstacle feels huge. When you think big, obstacles become part of the game. You expect them. You plan for them. You stay focused because the prize is worth it. That's why thinking big actually reduces stress in the long run. It aligns your mind with purpose instead of just survival. So here's the wake-up call. Stop treating your dreams like side hustles. Stop dialing things down just because it makes others comfortable. If you got a bold vision, chase it with precision, with obsession, and with the belief that bigger isn't bad. Bigger is better if it's aligned with your purpose and your one thing. Gary Keller's message in this chapter is clear. Don't just aim higher, aim smartly higher. Stop asking, what can I accomplish? And start asking, what's the one thing I can do that would blow everything else out of water if I actually did it? Then do that thing, loudly, clearly, and without apology. Chapter 8, A Disciplined Life. The Lie of Willpower as a Lifestyle. People love the word discipline. It sounds noble, strong, even heroic. But here's the problem. We romanticize discipline as if it's some magic force that successful people wake up with every morning. We imagine the world's top performers are running on 24/7 discipline, while the rest of us hit snooze 5 times. Gary Keller wants you to throw that myth in the trash. In Chapter 8, he makes one thing clear. You don't need a disciplined life. You just need to be disciplined long enough to build the right habit. That's it. The truth is, even the most successful people don't live in constant discipline. Instead, they've learned to focus that discipline on one thing, building powerful habits around what matters most. And once those habits are locked in, the need for constant discipline fades away. Think of it like this: discipline is like a battery. You've only got so much of it every day. If you're spending that limited charge on everything, answering emails, resisting snacks, forcing yourself to do work you hate, you'll be drained by lunch. But if you direct that energy toward your one thing, consistently, deliberately, you only need to be disciplined for a short time before the habit takes over and runs on autopilot. Keller gives the example of working out. You don't need to always feel motivated to go to the gym. You just need to push yourself to go consistently for a few weeks until it becomes part of who you are. Once the habit is in place, it no longer feels like a daily battle. It's just what you do. The key takeaway is this: don't try to become a master of everything. Master one thing at a time. Pick the habit that supports your most important goal, then pour your limited discipline into building it. Once it sticks, move on to the next. That's how real transformation happens, one solid habit at a time. So if you're tired of feeling like a failure because you can't stay perfectly disciplined, stop beating yourself up. You're not broken. You're just misusing your energy. You don't need to live a military-style life to succeed. You just need to be strategically disciplined. Aim it like a laser. Don't try to fix your whole life at once. Fix the one thing that makes everything else easier. Then repeat. In a world that idolizes endless hustle and iron-willed discipline, Keller's message is refreshingly human. Success isn't about grinding 24/7. It's about getting smart with your focus and giving your discipline a job it can actually win. Chapter 9. Big is bad. Breaking the myth of thinking small. We've all heard it. Don't get your hopes up. Be realistic. Think small so you don't fail big. These warnings parade around like wisdom, but Gary Keller calls them out for what they really are: fear dressed up in logic. In Chapter 9, Keller dismantles the myth that big is bad and challenges us to rewire how we think about goals, action, and potential. Playing small doesn't protect you. It limits you. It's the equivalent of keeping your car in first gear on the freeway. You're built for more, but fear convinces you to shrink your vision. Keller argues that if your goals don't scare you even a little, they're probably not worthy of your effort. Small thinking produces small results. Period. Most of us are taught to aim for what seems reasonable. We base our goals on what we think is achievable instead of what's actually possible. But here's the kicker. Thinking big isn't just about dreaming. It's a strategy. Big goals force big action. They change how you approach problems. They make you stretch, adapt, and grow into someone who can handle the outcome. Keller shares that the people who achieve extraordinary results don't tiptoe toward them. They go all in. They set big targets, ask big questions, and take bold actions. And guess what? They often miss the mark, but they land further ahead than they ever would have by playing it safe. This chapter isn't just about ambition. It's about mindset. Thinking big changes the quality of the questions you ask yourself. Instead of asking, "What can I do to hit my monthly quota?" you start asking, "What would it take to 10x my impact?" That shift alone can transform your trajectory. Keller also warns about the comfort of incremental progress. It feels good to get a little better each day. But sometimes, that slow crawl becomes a trap. You end up polishing the edges of a small life instead of building the foundation for something truly meaningful. Big thinking is messy, risky, and sometimes scary, but it's the only way to unlock your true potential. And let's be honest, small goals don't fire you up. They don't get you out of bed early or keep you working late because they don't demand your full self. Big goals do. They demand clarity, focus, and persistence. They force you to ask for help, seek resources, and stay resilient. So here's the takeaway. Stop treating big as bad. Big is bold. Big is exciting. Big is how breakthroughs happen. The people who change the world don't play small. They raise the bar so high that they have no choice but to rise to the occasion. And that's exactly what you need to do with your one thing. Think big, act bold, and never apologize for wanting more. Chapter 10: The Focusing Question, Your Power Tool for Extraordinary Results. What's the one thing you can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? That question, yes, that exact one, is the heart of this entire book. Chapter 10 puts a spotlight on it, and for a good reason. It's not just a question. It's a focusing tool, a compass, a daily discipline, a bulldozer for distraction. Most people move through life checking off to-do lists, juggling multiple priorities, and chasing productivity hacks. But Keller flips that chaos on its head. He argues that success doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing the right thing. And the focusing question helps you zero in on exactly what that is. It's a simple question with profound implications. The structure is deceptively basic. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Read that again, slowly. The magic is in how it rewires your brain. It pushes you to prioritize impact over effort. It forces you to cut through the noise and find the signal. Keller explains that there are two versions of this question: big picture and small focus. The big picture version gives you long-term direction. What's the one thing I can do in my career? In my health? In my relationship? The small focus version grounds you in the present. What's the one thing I can do today to move a needle? This isn't about multitasking. It's about ruthless prioritization. When you start using the focusing question daily, you stop reacting and start choosing. You start living with intention. And you start getting results that don't just add up, they multiply. But here's the challenge. Most people resist simplicity. They think complex answers must be better. They feel guilty for doing one thing when they could do five. They're terrified of missing out. But Keller reminds us, saying yes to your one thing means saying no to everything else. That's not selfish. It's strategic. The focusing question isn't just a mindset. It's a muscle. You have to train it, practice it, ask it repeatedly until it becomes a lens through which you see every decision. Should I take this meeting? Should I launch this project? Should I wake up earlier? Ask the question. Let the answer guide you. And don't confuse easy with effective. The right answer might be hard. It might require learning a new skill, making a tough call, or disappointing someone. But if it's the one thing that matters most, it deserves your attention, fully and consistently. So as Chapter 10 closes, you're left with this. One question, asked daily, can change everything. It's not a trick. It's not a trend. It's a timeless principle disguised as a simple sentence. Ask it, answer it, act on it. That's how extraordinary results begin. Chapter 11, The Success Habit, Harnessing the Power of Purposeful Repetition. Success isn't random. It's not a lightning bolt. It's not for the lucky few. It's a habit, a behavior done so consistently that the results compound. And in Chapter 11, Gary Keller puts a spotlight on how the focusing question, when used habitually, transforms from a strategy into a way of life. Let's be honest. Most people want extraordinary outcomes, but few are willing to build extraordinary habits. They dabble. They start and stop. They chase novelty instead of nurturing mastery. But if you want clarity, momentum, and ultimately success, you need to make the focusing question a daily ritual, not a one-time breakthrough. The question again, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Ask it once, and you get direction. Ask it every day, and you build alignment. That's where the magic lies. Not in the occasional aha moment, but in sustained, intentional action toward a singular goal. This chapter stresses that repetition is the mother of mastery. You don't become excellent by accident. You become excellent by being obsessed, by showing up again and again to do the one thing that matters most. Keller drives home the point that the focusing question is your compass. And when you use it habitually, you stop reacting to life and start designing it. He explains that habits aren't just behaviors. They're commitments. And once you commit to asking the right question daily, your life naturally begins to shape itself around the answer. Decisions become easier. Distractions lose their grip. Priorities become obvious. It's like cleaning a foggy windshield. You start seeing what really matters. But habits aren't built overnight. Keller introduces the idea of a 66-day challenge. the time it takes, on average, to install a new habit. Not 21 days. Not 30. 66. That's the window where discomfort transforms into discipline. It's where effort turns into ease. You just have to push through the resistance and stay consistent. Keller's challenge to the reader is simple. Start using the focusing question today. Use it tomorrow, and again the next day. Don't just think about it. Live it. Write it on a sticky note. Make it your phone wallpaper. Say it aloud every morning. Let it anchor your focus. Because here's the truth. Success leaves clues. And one of the clearest clues is consistency. The people who rise above aren't necessarily smarter or luckier. They're just clearer. They know what they're doing, why they're doing it, and they do it without fail. So if you're tired of spinning your wheels, if you're overwhelmed by a million options, if you want progress that doesn't vanish after a few weeks, start with this one habit. Ask the one question every single day. Let it drive your choices. Let it shape your hours. Let it build your legacy. This chapter isn't just a call to action. It's a call to discipline. Because when you treat the right question like a habit, your results stop being accidental and start being inevitable. Chapter 12. The Path to Living with Purpose. Big Goals and the Domino Effect. Imagine lining up a series of dominoes, each one bigger than the last. Knock down the first, and it sets off a chain reaction. That's how success works. It's not about giant leaps. It's about knocking down the right small domino over and over until momentum becomes unstoppable. In Chapter 12 of The One Thing, Gary Keller takes us deeper into the connection between purpose, priorities, and productivity. He pulls no punches here. Success isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most, and doing it with intention. That's how people create extraordinary lives. This chapter starts by asking a powerful question. What's your big why? Because without a purpose, even the most productive routines become meaningless. And without clarity on the big picture, it's easy to waste your days on distractions that feel urgent but are ultimately irrelevant. Keller argues that when your daily actions line up with meaningful purpose, everything changes. Your energy improves. Your focus sharpens. You stop needing external motivation because your internal drive takes over. That's what separates the amateurs from professionals. The pros don't wait to feel inspired. They're anchored by purpose. Then comes the idea of goal, setting to the now. Here's how it works. Start with your someday goal. That's your dream, the life you want to build. Then reverse engineer into a 5-year goal, a 1-year goal, a monthly goal, a weekly goal, a daily goal, and finally, a right now action. It's the ultimate blueprint for turning a distant vision into a practical, bite-sized step you can take today. This isn't fluffy advice. It's strategic, grounded, and brutally effective. If your someday goal is to be financially free, then maybe your 5-year goal is to build a business that runs without you. Your 1-year goal might be to build a team. Your monthly goal could be to land 3 major clients. Your weekly goal might be to close 1 deal. And your daily goal? Make 10 calls. Simple, specific, aligned. It's the domino effect in action. Start with what matters now, and let each success lead to the next. Keller warns against the trap of the discouraged dreamer. That's the person who thinks big, but doesn't act small. They want the extraordinary life, but they're not willing to simplify their focus or commit to the process. And because they don't see fast results, they give up. But that's not you. This chapter is your wake-up call. If you've been chasing too many things or getting pulled in 100 directions, stop. Look at your someday goal. Then ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do right now that will get me 1 step closer? That's the lever. That's the domino. The most successful people don't hustle harder. They hustle smarter. They don't spread themselves thin. They go all in on what matters. And it all starts with aligning your purpose to your daily priorities. It's not magic. It's not even motivation. It's clarity. So write it down. Define your someday. Then do the math. Break it down until you got a single, clear task to do today. Do it with full focus. Then show up again tomorrow. And the next day. That's how you win. That's how you build a life that actually means something. Purpose-driven. Priority-led. Productivity-backed. That's the system. That's the difference. And that's what Chapter 12 is all about. Chapter 13, Extraordinary Results and the Power of Consistency. In Chapter 13, we dive into one of the most essential but often overlooked truths about success: consistency. It's the fuel that keeps the engine running, the steady hand that guides you forward when distractions are endless, and the single most important factor in achieving extraordinary results. Gary Keller doesn't sugarcoat it. If you want extraordinary results, you have to make the daily commitment to your one thing, and then keep at it. Success is built not by occasional bursts of brilliance, but by showing up day after day, consistently putting in the work that matters. The first idea Keller brings up in this chapter is the power of consistency over perfection. Many of us get caught in the trap of thinking that we need everything to be perfect before we act. We wait for the perfect time, the perfect circumstances, or the perfect plan. But perfection is a myth that paralyzes us. The reality is that extraordinary results come from taking imperfect action again and again, making small improvements along the way. Let's talk about the compound effect, which Keller illustrates beautifully. Much like compound interest, your consistent effort compounds over time. When you put in a little bit of effort each day, whether it's making one sales call, writing a few pages of a book, or practicing a skill, the results don't show up immediately, but in time, they multiply in ways that are mind-blowing. Just like how pennies can turn into thousands over time with compound interest, your small, focused efforts can lead to massive achievements. This chapter is also about mastering the art of prioritization. We've already learned that focusing on your one thing is key, but consistency means that you must keep it front and center no matter how many distractions or competing demands are vying for your attention. Keller urges you to create systems and habits that protect your time and energy. If your one thing is your business, then consistently investing in growing it every single day will eventually lead to results. If your one thing is your health, then exercising, eating well, and taking care of your body becomes a daily habit. The key here is not letting other priorities crowd out what truly matters most. The next part of the chapter touches on a hard truth. You need to guard your time like a hawk. Time is the one resource you can never get back. When you say yes to something that doesn't align with your one thing, you're saying no to the success you could achieve. This doesn't mean you have to say no to everything, but it does mean you need to be incredibly discerning about where you allocate your time. What Keller emphasizes here is that consistency isn't about grinding endlessly. It's about doing the right thing at the right time in the right way. And even though the results might not be instant, the process itself will transform you into the person who can achieve what others can't. It's through repeated action and unwavering commitment that your ability to deliver extraordinary results sharpens. Keller also discusses the importance of rituals and routines in this chapter. When you build a routine that revolves around your one thing, you don't have to rely on motivation or willpower to get started. The routine becomes automatic, ingrained, and reliable. It's like getting on a bicycle that's already in motion. Once your habit is set, consistency doesn't require effort. It requires showing up and doing what you've already committed to. Another major point Keller makes is that success doesn't come from one-off events or moments of brilliance. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Consistency is the fuel for this marathon. And just like in any long race, there will be days when you feel like you can't go any further. But it's those days where consistency matters the most. It's those days when you choose to keep moving forward, even when the progress is small, that eventually make you an expert, a success, or a master of your craft. In this chapter, Keller gives us the most important piece of advice for staying on course: the power of tracking. By tracking your progress, you measure what's working and what's not, which helps you course correct and celebrate your wins along the way. Tracking gives you momentum. It shows you that you're getting closer to your goal, and that's what keeps you coming back day after day to continue the journey. Keller closes this chapter by reminding us that extraordinary results aren't reserved for a lucky few. They come from consistently doing the one thing, the right thing, every single day. The real difference between people who achieve massive success and those who struggle is simple. The former don't stop. They keep going, no matter what. They trust the process, stay committed, and understand that success is a series of small actions compounded over time. So, ask yourself, what's your one thing? And how can you commit to doing it consistently, even when things get tough. The path to extraordinary results starts right here, by making the decision to keep going, no matter the obstacles. Consistency is the key to unlocking that next level of success. This chapter teaches us that extraordinary results aren't just about doing the right things. They're about doing them consistently. Keep showing up and watch how small efforts grow into big achievements. Chapter 14. Live with Purpose and Intentionality. Chapter 14 explores the idea that to achieve extraordinary results, we need to live intentionally. It's about aligning our day-to-day actions with our ultimate vision and making conscious choices that drive us forward. Here, Keller shifts the conversation from focusing on productivity to focusing on the deeper purpose behind our actions. In essence, success isn't just about doing more. It's about doing the right things that matter most. Living with purpose begins with understanding your values and defining your why. When you know what you truly value, you make decisions that align with those values. This brings clarity and focus, helping you avoid distractions that don't serve your goals. Keller emphasizes that living with purpose requires you to take a hard look at your priorities and ask yourself if your daily actions are leading you toward what truly matters. Keller introduces the concept of intention and how it differs from mere action. It's not enough to just do something, you have to do it with intention. Intention is the energy that fuels the action. It's the clarity behind what you're doing, and it drives your success. Without intention, you might end up being busy without being productive. It's easy to fall into the trap of checking off to-do lists or putting in long hours, but if those actions aren't aligned with your purpose, they won't lead to the extraordinary results you're seeking. At the heart of this chapter is the message that success doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing the most important thing with purpose. Keller suggests that the best way to live intentionally is to create a vision for your life and then break that vision down into actionable steps. When your goals are clear, every action you take becomes a step toward that vision, and that's when you start to make real progress. One of the key tools Keller suggests for living with purpose is the time blocking technique. He explains that intentional time blocks, where you protect your time for your one thing, are non-negotiable. Time blocking allows you to focus your energy on what truly matters and ensures that you're not distracted by the noise of the world. Time blocking is also about protecting your energy, not just your time. By focusing on what matters most, you preserve your mental and physical resources for the tasks that will drive your success. A powerful part of living intentionally is creating boundaries. Keller speaks about the importance of saying no to things that don't align with your vision, no matter how appealing they might seem. This is where many people fall short. They say yes to too many things and end up spreading themselves thin. But saying no is a key to success because it allows you to maintain focus on your one thing. It's a difficult skill, but learning to say no with purpose is one of the most powerful tools for living intentionally. Keller also dives into the idea of clarity and how it plays a pivotal role in intentional living. When you are clear about your goals, you can make decisions with confidence. If you aren't clear, every choice becomes a challenge. Clarity gives you the ability to prioritize and avoid getting lost in the weeds of less important tasks. When your mind is focused, it becomes easy to take the right actions, and those actions compound over time to bring about extraordinary results. Throughout the chapter, Keller encourages readers to approach each day with a sense of mindfulness. It's easy to go through the motions, to react to external circumstances, or to let the day dictate how you feel. But living intentionally means taking control of your day, focusing on your one thing, and acting with purpose in every moment. It's about making conscious choices that align with your bigger goals. Another crucial aspect of intentionality that Keller touches on is energy management. Success requires more than just time management. It requires energy management. When you know your most productive hours, when you're most focused, and when your energy is at its peak, you can schedule your time blocks accordingly. This makes your actions more effective and align with your overall purpose. It's not just about working hard. It's about working smart and leveraging your energy to its fullest potential. Keller wraps up the chapter by emphasizing that living with purpose is a choice. It's a decision you make every single day. And when you make that choice, your actions start to align with your vision. The more intentional you are about how you spend your time and energy, the greater your ability to create extraordinary results. Intentional living is what allows you to maintain the focus needed to move forward, even when life gets chaotic. At the core of this chapter, Keller drives home the importance of understanding your why. Without a deep understanding of why you do what you do, it's easy to get distracted, burned out, or demotivated. But when you're clear on your purpose, the actions you take become more meaningful and the results more fulfilling. As you move forward in your journey toward extraordinary results, remember that every choice you make contributes to your larger vision. Living intentionally means being mindful of the choices you make, aligning your actions with your values, and consistently putting the effort toward your one thing. That's when you create a life that not only leads to success, but one that's also fulfilling and aligned with your deepest aspirations. Chapter 15, Live with Discipline and Accountability. Chapter 15 brings everything together, emphasizing that while clarity and purpose are essential, maintaining discipline and accountability is what actually drives extraordinary results. As we've learned through the journey so far, focusing on your one thing is crucial, but without the discipline to keep pursuing it consistently, results are likely to stagnate. In this chapter, Keller dives into how discipline, combined with accountability, can push you to stay on track and achieve your goals, even when life's distractions get in the way. Discipline is often seen as a difficult, almost punitive concept. However, Keller redefines it in a positive light. Discipline isn't about being rigid or following a set of rules. It's about creating a structure that supports your long-term vision. It's about choosing your most important goal and making the daily effort to stay committed to it. Discipline is also about controlling your impulses and making decisions that align with your values and priorities. The more you exercise this discipline, the more natural it becomes, and the easier it is to stay focused on what matters most. One of the key points Keller highlights in this chapter is that discipline is not something you either have or don't have. It's something you build over time. It's a muscle that gets stronger the more you use it. When you start small, focusing on one thing at a time, and consistently exercising that discipline, it begins to accumulate and build momentum. The consistent application of discipline, Keller suggests, leads to massive long-term results. However, discipline alone isn't enough. Accountability is the other half of the equation. Keller explained that having someone to answer to, whether it's a mentor, a coach, or even a friend, helps to keep you focused and motivated. Accountability brings an external source of structure and encouragement, which helps you stay on track when motivation fades. It's too easy to let yourself off the hook when no one is watching, but with accountability in place, you are more likely to follow through on your commitments. Keller shares a powerful idea that accountability partners can act as a mirror, helping you reflect on your progress and adjust your strategies if needed. By setting clear expectations with someone you trust, you're less likely to procrastinate or become complacent. You'll be more committed to showing up and putting in the effort required to achieve your goals. This external pressure works in tandem with your internal discipline to create a powerful force for success. In addition to setting up accountability relationships, Keller also stresses the importance of being accountable to yourself. This means developing self-integrity, where you keep your promises to yourself just as you would to others. It's about developing trust with yourself so that when you say you're going to do something, you actually do it. Without this self-accountability, your discipline can quickly fall apart. Accountability to yourself is the foundation upon which all other accountability structures are built. Another key aspect Keller explores is how discipline and accountability work together in overcoming obstacles. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and distractions, but it's in these moments that discipline and accountability truly shine. When things get tough, discipline is what pushes you to take the next step, even when you don't feel like it. Accountability ensures that you follow through, even when your motivation wanes. These two forces work together to keep you on track, no matter what happens. Keller also shares that discipline and accountability are not just about short-term results. They are the building blocks for long-term success. The effort you put in today, the small steps you take with discipline, and the accountability you keep for yourself and others will compound over time. The more you cultivate these qualities, the more powerful your results will become. It's a long-term game, and the payoff is worth the persistence. In this chapter, Keller also introduces the idea of no excuses thinking. Many people allow excuses to derail their efforts and prevent them from making progress. These excuses can range from things outside of your control to self-imposed limits and mental roadblocks. Discipline and accountability help you push through those excuses. When you make the decision to stop making excuses and take full responsibility for your success, everything changes. It's about owning your journey and recognizing that no one else can do the work for you. A critical tool that Keller encourages is the daily success habit. By making your most important action your one thing, part of your daily routine, you embed it into your life in such a way that it becomes a non-negotiable. Whether it's scheduling time every day to work on your goal or ensuring that you're practicing the discipline to make progress each day, your daily success habit sets you up for consistent success. Having this daily habit helps to reinforce the discipline you need to keep going, and it serves as a reminder that your goal is always within reach. Keller also touches on the power of tracking your progress and celebrating small wins. This provides both motivation and a clear indication of how far you've come. When you see the results of your discipline and accountability over time, it strengthens your commitment and helps you build even more momentum. The key here is to acknowledge your successes, no matter how small they may seem, because each success brings you one step closer to your larger goal. The chapter concludes by encouraging readers to develop a no-quit mentality. This means that no matter how difficult the journey may become, you commit to staying the course. Success often comes down to resilience, the ability to keep going even when the path gets tough. Discipline and accountability help build this resilience, making it easier to stay on track, overcome obstacles, and continue working toward your goals. At the heart of Chapter 15 is the message that discipline and accountability are essential to turning extraordinary results into a reality. They are not optional. They are non-negotiable components of success. By cultivating both discipline and accountability, you create an environment where your dreams can thrive, your goals can be achieved, and you can maintain the focus necessary for long-term success. This chapter serves as a powerful reminder that with the right mindset, structure, and support, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Chapter 16, Live with Purpose and Passion. As we reach Chapter 16, the final chapter of The One Thing, we see that all the principles and strategies Keller has shared throughout the book converge toward one ultimate goal: living with purpose and passion. This chapter underscores the importance of integrating your one thing into your life in such a way that it brings fulfillment, joy, and meaning. Purpose and passion are the driving forces that propel you to keep going when things get tough. They give you the energy and motivation to persist even when the obstacles seem insurmountable. Keller emphasizes that living with purpose is about aligning your actions with what truly matters to you. It's about knowing your values, understanding your core beliefs, and making sure that your goals reflect those beliefs. When your work aligns with your purpose, it stops feeling like just another task on your to-do list, and instead becomes something you're deeply invested in. Purpose gives you clarity, and clarity gives you focus. The focus that's needed to succeed in your one thing. But it's not just about being focused on one thing. It's about being fueled by passion. Passion is the energy that propels you forward, even when you face setbacks. Passion gives you the fire to wake up every day, ready to work toward your goal, even when the journey feels long and arduous. When you have passion for your one thing, it doesn't feel like a chore. It feels like an adventure, and that excitement fuels your drive and keeps you going. Throughout the chapter, Keller introduces a concept of purpose-driven goals. He explains that when your one thing is aligned with your deeper sense of purpose, it becomes something far greater than just a personal objective. It's not just about achieving success for the sake of success, but rather about achieving something that contributes to a greater cause. Whether that cause is to serve others, make a difference in the world, or simply live a life that reflects your true values, the key is to stay connected to your purpose. A critical takeaway from this chapter is the idea that your purpose evolves over time. What matters to you today may shift as you grow and learn more about yourself. This is not a negative thing. It's simply part of the process of evolving into the best version of yourself. As you continue to make progress with your one thing, you'll naturally encounter new opportunities and perspectives that may lead you to refine your purpose. The important part is to stay open to growth and allow your purpose to evolve in alignment with your current path. Keller talks about the importance of integrating your purpose into your daily life. This isn't just about thinking about your purpose once in a while, but about actively incorporating it into everything you do. It's about bringing your passion into your work, your relationships, and your everyday decisions. When you live with purpose and passion, it shapes how you view the world and how you interact with others. It becomes a lens through which you filter your choices, ensuring that every action you take is aligned with your deeper goals and values. A major theme of this chapter is the relationship between your one thing and your broader vision for life. Keller stresses that the one thing is not an isolated goal. It is, in fact, part of a larger vision for the kind of life you want to lead. By focusing on your one thing, you create a pathway that leads to your ultimate vision, whether that vision is professional success, personal fulfillment, financial freedom, or something else. The one thing is a tool that helps you break down your grand vision into manageable, actionable steps, and each step brings you closer to living the life you envision. But Keller also warns against the danger of losing sight of the big picture. It's easy to get so focused on achieving one goal that you forget to ask yourself why you're working toward it in the first place. As you progress, regularly check in with yourself to ensure that the goal you're pursuing still reflects your true purpose. This is where passion plays a crucial role. It helps you stay aligned with your vision and prevents you from drifting off course. The chapter also emphasizes the importance of celebrating your progress. Often, when we set big goals, we focus solely on the finish line. But the journey is just as important. Celebrating the small victories along the way helps to build momentum and reinforce your commitment. It's also a powerful reminder that progress is happening, even if it doesn't always feel like it. Keller encourages readers to take time to reflect on how far they've come and appreciate the work they've put in so far. Keller also discusses the role of resilience in maintaining your passion. There will inevitably be setbacks, moments of doubt, and times when your motivation wanes. But the ability to bounce back from these challenges is what separates those who achieve extraordinary results from those who give up. Resilience comes from a deep sense of purpose and a strong commitment to your passion. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about using failure as a stepping stone to greater success. One powerful exercise Keller recommends is visualizing your future self, how you want to feel, what you want to have accomplished, and how you want your life to look. This helps solidify your vision and gives you a clear mental picture of what you're working toward. Visualization can be a powerful motivator, especially when work feels difficult or when you're not seeing immediate results. When you have a clear vision of your desired future, it becomes easier to push through the challenges of the present. Finally, Keller closes the chapter with a reminder that your one thing should always be something that excites you. If you don't feel passionate about it, it's easy to get discouraged and give up. Passion is what sustains you when motivation wanes. Without passion, your one thing can feel like a burden. But when it's something you care deeply about, it becomes a source of energy that propels you forward. In conclusion, Chapter 16 brings home the idea that living with purpose and passion is essential for extraordinary success. When your one thing aligns with your deeper values and fuels you with passion, it becomes more than just a goal. It becomes a mission. Passion keeps you focused, while purpose keeps you grounded in the bigger picture. Together, they form a foundation for lasting success, ensuring that every step you take on your journey is purposeful, fulfilling, and truly meaningful. Chapter 17, The Power of Focused Living. As we enter Chapter 17 of The One Thing, the central theme is the transformative power of focus. In this chapter, Gary Keller urges us to prioritize what truly matters and eliminate distractions that can derail us from our path to success. Focus is a key to achieving extraordinary results in every area of our lives. And in this chapter, we'll uncover how to cultivate and protect that focus to accomplish our one thing. Focus is often easier said than done. We live in a world filled with distractions, from constant notifications on our devices to the pressure of juggling multiple responsibilities. Keller's advice is to live with purpose and prioritize with intention. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of life, but if you truly want to succeed in achieving your one thing, you must intentionally focus on above everything else. The art of focus is about stripping away what doesn't serve your goal and honing in on what truly matters. One powerful concept Keller introduces in this chapter is the idea of purposeful elimination. We often hear that we should do more to achieve more, But in reality, the secret to success often lies in doing less. Doing fewer things, but doing them with extraordinary focus. By eliminating non-essential tasks and distractions, you can give your full attention to your one thing, the one thing that will move the needle in your life. Keller describes focus as a muscle that can be strengthened over time. Just like lifting weights at the gym helps you build physical strength, intentionally practicing focus on a daily basis helps you build mental and emotional strength. The more you practice focus, the more natural it becomes. The key, however, is consistency. When you make focus a daily habit, it becomes easier to keep distractions at bay and stay on track with your goals. A crucial piece of advice in this chapter is that focus requires discipline. It's not enough to simply decide that your one thing is important. You must actively carve out time and energy to nurture that focus. This requires saying no to things that don't align with your priorities, even when they may seem urgent or appealing. Keller emphasizes that saying no is just as important as saying yes. When you say no to distractions, you're saying yes to what truly matters. One of the challenges of living a focused life is that we often face competing demands for our time and attention. Keller suggests a powerful exercise, categorizing tasks based on their importance and urgency. This helps you clearly identify which tasks are essential for your one thing and which ones can be pushed aside or delegated. Keller's advice is to only spend time on those things that directly contribute to your goal and to avoid getting caught up in tasks that don't have a significant impact on your desired outcome. The chapter also addresses the importance of creating boundaries around your time. Without boundaries, it's all too easy to fall into the trap of reacting to others' demands and losing sight of your own priorities. Keller suggests that creating intentional boundaries around your time and energy helps you maintain focus and ensures that you're not constantly pulled in a million different directions. He encourages readers to set aside specific times during the day when they can focus entirely on their one thing, free from interruptions. Whether it's an hour in the morning or a few hours in the evening, having uninterrupted time dedicated to your goal is essential for making progress. Keller also emphasizes the importance of batching tasks. This concept involves grouping similar tasks together so that you can complete them more efficiently. By batching tasks, you reduce the mental clutter of constantly switching between different kinds of work, which allows you to stay focused and productive. For example, instead of checking your email throughout the day, you could designate specific times to respond to emails, which helps you stay focused on other important tasks without constant distractions. An additional point Keller raises is the need to regularly review your progress. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day grind without reflecting on the bigger picture. By taking time to review your progress on a regular basis, you can identify where you may be slipping into distractions or where you need to double down on your focus. This can be done on a weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis, depending on what works best for you. Keller's advice is to keep track of how well you're protecting your focus and adjust your habits as needed. One of the most powerful tools Keller shares in this chapter is the idea of creating a focus time ritual. This is a dedicated, distraction-free period of time when you commit to working solely on your one thing. It could be a 60-minute session in the morning, a few hours in the afternoon, or whatever works best for your schedule. The key is to make this time sacred and non-negotiable. By turning it into a ritual, you train your mind to prioritize your one thing, making it easier to stay on track and ward off distractions. Keller also emphasizes that focus requires rest and recovery. It's important to recharge so that you can continue to operate at your highest level. Focus isn't about working 24/7 without breaks. It's about intentionally focusing when it's time to focus and allowing yourself time to rest and reset when needed. Keller suggests that in order to maintain sustainable focus over the long term, you must also prioritize rest, exercise, and relaxation. This balance between focus and recovery is essential for maintaining high performance and ensuring that your energy doesn't burn out. Finally, Keller reminds us that true focus is about creating a life by design, not by default. It's about intentionally choosing how you want to live, instead of letting the demands of life control you. Focus enables you to take control of your time and energy, which empowers you to build a life that aligns with your values, purpose, and goals. When you live with intentional focus, every action you take brings you closer to your desired outcome. In conclusion, Chapter 17 offers a powerful blueprint for living a focused life. By purposefully eliminating distractions, setting boundaries, batching tasks, and creating intentional rituals around your one thing, you can harness the power of focus to achieve extraordinary results. Focus isn't just a skill, it's a way of life that allows you to live with purpose, passion, and precision. By embracing focus, you can transform your life and move steadily toward a success you've always desired. To wrap up, the message of the one thing is simple but life-changing. Success comes when you focus on what matters most and cut out everything else. Gary Keller and Papasan challenge us to stop multitasking, eliminate distractions, and align our daily actions with our biggest goals. When you consistently focus on your one thing, extraordinary results become not only possible but inevitable. If this summary brought you clarity or motivation, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. For more insightful takeaways from top self-development and business books, stay tuned to Detailed Book Summaries, where we help you learn smarter, grow faster, and think bigger.